Justin Simmons, he wants to be a Miami Dolphins. The NFL free agent safety, formerly of the Denver Broncos, took to social media and kind of gave a little bit of a cryptic post hinting at him wanting to be a part of this Dolphins roster. I am Nick Roloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. Let's get into it, and it all started with this. King of Finland, who is a great follow on Twitter if you're a Dolphins fan, by the way, if you haven't followed him already, so go do so, tweeted out, could today be the day, with the devil emoji, and there was also a photo accompanied to that. And it was this photo right here of Miami Dolphins, Justin Simmons Photoshop, his little signature. So he was kind of teasing, could today be the day that Justin Simmons signs with the Miami Dolphins? And then this Twitter user, Ross Tucker, quote tweeted it and says, let's win your golf event and then get you on a one-way to McDaniel land at JSims1119. And then Justin Simmons, who is that, responded with the eye emoji. So Dolphins fans got quite excited, and I did too, that he's kind of teasing us and might want to be a Miami Dolphin. We're going to talk about what it would cost if Miami should do it, could do it, and how he is as a player. But if you want Justin Simmons to be a Miami Dolphin, like it seems like he could be open to being, type those JS's down below. Let's get all the JS's down. So if Justin Simmons is scrolling on YouTube, typing his name in connection with Miami, and he goes across this video, he knows that Dolphins fans want him here, so he will sign here. This would be an unreal signing for the Miami Dolphins. To get a safety of Justin Simmons' caliber would just be simply phenomenal. He is one of the best coverage safeties, best tackling safeties, and he's been that way for Denver. Just the Broncos had to shed some salary, and Simmons ended up being a cap casualty. But he's still got a lot in the gas tank, and Miami should absolutely sign the former Pro Bowl safety to this Dolphins roster. Because when you look at this safety depth chart right now, there's a lot that could be loved, but there's also some things left on the table. What is there to love? Well, the tandem of Jaylen Waddle and Jordan Poyer is a top 5 safety tandem in the NFL. I can confidently say that. Poyer is a top 20 safety in the NFL. I think Jaylen Waddle is a top 5 safety in the National Football League. The issue I have is the depth behind them. Elijah Campbell is spotty at best. Patrick McMorris was a 6th-round pick out of Cal, but then the other two guys, Colbert and Mark Perry, and Perry, guess what, is a UDFA, and so is Colbert. So to me, I think the Dolphins need a third safety. Barring injury, you could be in an absolute horrific spot on this depth chart if Jaylen Waddle or Poyer went down. So having the insurance of Justin Simmons could only help there, but it also could make your defense more versatile, because I will touch on this, but I think Anthony Weaver would like to run some 3 safety sets. Simmons would be the best safety available to add to this roster. He was solid in 2023, but he's been one of the best safeties in football over the past 4 seasons, and he was at his prime about 2 or 3 years ago. He had 70 tackles last year, a couple TFLs, a couple forced fumbles, took the ball away 5 times, which is nice, and he was all right in coverage. It was nothing special. Like, it could have been better, sure, but it's not like he is an absolute liability back there at safety. Completion percentage around at 63.9. Only allowed 324 yards. The 3 touchdowns isn't great, and the QB rating at 85.9 is average, if I do say so myself. But like I mentioned, he has a knack for getting his hands on the balls. 8 PBU, 3 INTs. He knows how to find the ball when it's in the air, and he does not panic when he's in one-on-one situations deep down the field. He's calm, cool, collected, and could knock down or intercept the pass. And I've talked about this a little bit, but Anthony Weaver, the defensive coordinator who's coming over from the Baltimore Ravens, I think he could use all 3 safeties on the field at the same time. I believe that he's going to run a lot of different style defenses, the traditional base where you have 2 safeties, 2 corners, nickel where you have 3 corners, 2 safeties, but I also believe there's a high possibility that there is some formations where they go 3 safeties and 2 corners, moving Jaylen Waddle, putting him in a Kyle Hamilton-esque role that He was playing for Baltimore when Anthony Weaver was the defensive line coach and assistant head coach. I think Weaver would like to have 3 safeties on this roster. I think Javon Holland could handle that, I guess, upgrade in role, and then you could still have Poyer and Simmons on the back end. Yeah, sign me up for that. If the Dolphins sign Justin Simmons, we will have you covered. Don't get it twisted, folks. Hit that sub button, because if Simmons signs with the Dolphins, heck, we might even go live, so make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications. As I mentioned just a bit ago, Anthony Weaver, if he adapts the same style of defense that Mike Macdonald had in Baltimore last season, then you should expect to see a lot of multiple sets and a lot of DBs on the field. 3-3-5, where you have 3 linebackers, 3 defensive linemen, 5 defensive backs, a 4-2-5 formation. And yeah, some of these can be different iterations of nickel or something like that. But as I mentioned, I think there's a legit possibility you see if Justin Simmons signed with Miami. Of course, we're all talking in hypotheticals, where you could see Simmons and Poyer on the back end. Simmons is that traditional free safety. Poyer is that strong safety. And then Holland can float around in the box, playing nickel corner if he needs to, playing as a speedy linebacker, manning up on tight ends or running backs and man coverage. I just think the versatility that Justin Simmons would give you is just so important that I think it would be fantastic for the Dolphins to add this man. And if he does want to come to Miami, I truly believe they need to get this done. And it's not like they can't get it done. The cap space is very fortunate for Miami after June 1st, because they released Xavier Howard with a post-June 1st designation. That freed up $18.5 million in cap space. So Miami now has $18.8 million in cap space, which ironically enough is actually the second most in the AFC East. The Patriots still have like $40 million in cap space. The Dolphins have 18. Then the Bills and Jets are floating around like 9 or 10 or something like that. There is room for the Dolphins to add Justin Simmons to this roster. We'll talk about what that contract looks like in just a second. But make sure you are getting this 2-pack combo of Dolphins t-shirts. They are $15 off right now when you go to chatsports.com/Dolphins combo. It could be the perfect Father's Day gift for you if you have not already bought your father or significant other a Father's Day gift already. Get this one right now. One more time, chatsports.com/Dolphins combo to get $15 off. All right, even though I said that the Dolphins have about $18.8 million in cap space, I do got to be honest with you. Due to them not signing Chop Robinson, the first-round pick in 2024, or Patrick Paul, second-round pick, 51st overall, to their rookie deals, that isn't really factored into that $18.8 million in cap space. They did sign 5 draft picks today, or excuse me, a couple days ago, by the way, in the form of Malik Washington, Mohamed Kamara, Taj Washington, McMorris, and Jalen Wright. I can't believe I spaced on that name for a second. But when they signed Chop Robinson and Patrick Paul, the cap space Miami will realistically have is around that $9 to $10 million range. Now, there are different ways to create more cap space, but if you just wanted to use that 9 to 10, I think this contract would be very, very good for Justin Simmons. My prediction, 1 year, $7 million deal for Justin Simmons. That is the type of money he could get, and I think he's worth that. I think there's a chance he could get $10 million from a team that has a lot more in cap space, but if Simmons wants to join Miami, also, remember, take this into consideration. This really means a lot to some players. No state income tax in Florida. So that $7 million in Miami could be worth $9 or $10 million in a state that does have income tax. So that does play a factor here. And if Simmons wants to contribute to a winning team, as he hasn't done the past couple of years in Denver, I think he could sign that 1 year, $7 million deal to form the best safety trio in the NFL with Javon Holland and Jordan Poyer. So would you give Justin Simmons $7 million for 1 year? If you would, type Y for yes. If you wouldn't, type N for no. I think Simmons is worth it. I'm typing my Ys, but let me know your thoughts down below. The one downside of paying Justin Simmons that money is that if you don't create cap space in a different way, it does almost entirely eliminate you from also adding a defensive tackle or an offensive guard to this roster, because obviously right guard is the biggest need, as there's no clear-cut starter with Robert Jones, Liam Eichenberg, Jack Driscoll fighting it out for that spot. And defensive tackle, losing Christian Wilkins. Do we trust Novell Gallimore and Tier Tart to be that leading pair man with Zach Sealer? I don't know if I do. So unless they create more cap space, paying Simmons does take you out of those rates. But if you do extend a Tyreek Hill, extend a Tua Tagovailoa, you can have different ways to create cap space. And I believe I actually was reading today is a way that the Dolphins, if they extended both Tyreek Hill and Tua and pushed some of the money into a signing bonus or later on in their contracts, could create like $24 or $25 million additionally for this season, which would then allow you to go on a tirade potentially and just add a bunch of good veterans on one-year deals for the 24-25 season. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. If you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at Nick_Roloff. I'm talking Dolphins football on a daily basis over on the Bird app. So if you want more coverage in between each video, that's the place to do it. I'll see you on the next video. Go Fins.